he says. Evening, Ross.
Evening, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Just another usual uneventful week, to be fair.
Yeah, same here. Anyway, so here's Steve. Evening,
There
Steve.
he
You
is,
are bang on time because I didn't bring you in on the stroke of 8 o'clock. How are you, mate?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. You?
Yeah, really good. So Jay is due to join us. I'm assuming he's finishing off his tea as usual because last week he was finishing off a steak, and then previously he was late because he was having a barbecue. But I don't know what your weather's like, but it's absolutely lashing it down here. So there's no barbecue weather down in unsunny Essex at the moment. That's for sure.
Same here, mate. Same here.
Right. So you got a bit of a cold. Or you all right?
No, man, mate.
Cool.
Just woke up.
I'm having a nightmare. I was having it. My son dropped the laptop, so I thought it wasn't going to work. I was like,
oh no.
We're going to... All it was making was this buzzing sound, like a bzzz. I was like, oh, the microphone or something's gone in it. But I just rebooted it again, and it's finally come on. But I need to look for I want a desktop, desktop one where it's just going to be, rather than a laptop. Laptops can be damaged so easily. You know what I mean? Dropping it or whatever. So
yeah,
I need a more of one of them. But I do like the iMacs, the new iMacs that come out. But we're all it wasn't all on Android. So at the end of the day, it'll be no good. You know what I mean? So I'm not.
That's the same as me, mate.
That's for sure.
Everything I use is Android. I mean, you look at the price of a Mac. I mean, I've literally I think it was last week I said to you, I've already spec'd and bought a PC from PC Specialist. So the money that you would spend on a Mac, I've spent the same money on a PC, but got a much, much higher spec for that. So
that's it, mate. You know what? I was looking at that one. It's very, very similar to well, I had in my mind like 1,500 to 2,000. Roughly. That's what I want to really do. But obviously, I need to get I need to get a screen and stuff like that, and a keyboard. So obviously, you don't want to you get a good PC, a good tower. Then you definitely need the good stuff to go with it, don't you? So
yeah, absolutely,
definitely need to do that.
So anyway, this evening it's going to be a little bit off piste. We've got an open mic, which was an invitation. We have got a couple of people that have said they're join. Now, we've got our first guest in the wings, but she's disappeared. So I'll wait for her to come back on camera, and then we'll bring her into live stream. And then I suppose at some point, Jay will come online. So here we go. We're going to welcome our first guest. It's Colette, as you can see from Colette's marine tank.
Good evening.
You all right? Oh, I just noticed that my screen's like a completely different way. Should I be turning that?
It's entirely up to you, because I know your channel, you film everything portrait, don't you? So yeah, if you could turn it, that would probably be better, but it's entirely up to you.
We'll have a go. We'll see how this works.
Yeah, that's better.
Is that better?
There we go.
Yeah.
You got,
I can see myself on the TV and on here. It's really weird.
It is a bit weird, isn't it?
But yeah, I can't see you guys now though.
That's not a bad thing.
Just myself on the big screen.
Yeah, I can put you like that if you prefer that.
Yeah, that's much better, thank you.
Is that better?
Yeah, so hi everyone. We're still waiting for Jay.
So we're still waiting for Jay. He's later than Steve usually is, but anyway, I'm sure he'll turn up at some point.
Yeah, must be having better than steak this time.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, Claire, I know you've originally from we do from Instagram, because I know you do quite a bit on there, and I know you've got obviously a tank that's in the background. So before you kind of ask us any questions or what you want to talk about, tell us about your tank.
Okay, so I started off with a Fluval Flex, so it was 57 litres, I think it was altogether. And actually, I'll start off with, I went for a BioOrb, was my first marine tank, which was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. I tried to convert a BioOrb, which I did, but I bought a second-hand BioOrb, which completely failed. The bottom, which is the whole filtration system, like failed and broke, and it was leaking everywhere. So never again would I try that.
Oh no.
Then went in with a Fluval Flex, which is also not a marine-based tank. So conversion, a little water skimmer. Just simple. I didn't do anything different apart from what was already in there, and it was shocking. Bacterial bloom after bacterial bloom after bacterial bloom. It was awful. You'll see pictures on my Instagram when I do throwbacks, and you wouldn't have liked the marine tank there at all. And then I upgraded in September, just gone, to the Red Sea 200 XL, and I'm absolutely loving it.
Fantastic.
So what's the biggest difference you've found between that and the other tanks, other than they were massive fails?
Well, the fact that it's an actual marine tank. It's built for just marine. You've got the light as well that came with it, because I went for the deluxe edition, so it included the light sump. That made it easy. I will do anything if it makes it easier for me. So I went for the deluxe edition because it included it all. I was terrified about getting a sump. I don't know why. I had it in my head that if you get a sump in a tank, it's really hard work. And if anything, it's the complete opposite. It makes everything easier. Water changes are so much easier. I do everything, you'll probably find this a bit weird, but I do all my water changes through my skimmer. So I turn my water volume up when I want to release the dirt, basically every week. I only do a 10%, so it's not a huge water change, but I don't do a water change as you would with the gravel and cleaning all that. I have enough clean-up crew to do all of that. My sand's quite clean anyway, so yeah. Just love it.
So how does that work? You say you do it via the skimmer.
Yeah. So the skimmer cut, obviously, it fills up through the week anyway, but it's never full, never completely full anyway, because I just leave it with a lot of skim mate, and it's always the brown mucky stuff, fish poo inside the top. There's never a lot of water in it, so I have quite a dry skim, and then when I'm doing a water change, I'll turn my water up. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Claire. Sorry, I'm late. Sorry.
Don't worry.
Well, you should have it.
I'm missing the best. I'm missing the best bit here. Oh my God, I'm missing the best bit. Sorry.
But could you not get through your steak tonight, Joe?
No. Do you know what it was? Right. My missus ordered a food delivery like Tesco. She's like, there's a Tesco delivery coming between 8 and 9. You're all right to put it away because I'm going out. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. So yeah, I've just been dashing around doing that. So sorry I'm late. Really sorry.
That's okay. Right. Anyway, sorry, Colette. Back to you.
No, don't worry. So basically, so I do a dry skim throughout the week, and then as I do my water change, I turn my water skimmer up, so the level, up, so that the water starts coming through, and I just use the hose that it comes with to empty my water that way. So it's taking all the dirt out at that point. Because my sand is really clean, so I don't ever really see that much floating about. And as and when I do a water change, I'll mess about with the rock, just get the detritus up, and it goes back through the skimmer anyway.
Must take forever though, mustn't it? How long does that take to do that? 20. So you're going to be taking 20 litres of your tank out?
Yeah, it takes about half an hour. It's not too long.
That's all right.
I just get the jugs in the tank and get it out. That's it. Get the jugs in and that's it.
I actually bought one of them electric gravel. I don't know what it is, but I bought one of those. I've never put batteries in. I've never even opened the box, and I just can't be bothered using it.
Yeah, the gravel box.
Yeah, the reason why is because my tank is so full now. How the heck am I gonna back my gravel?
Exactly. Yeah.
I was going to say that. You must be due an upgrade soon, you know.
That's what Gal was asking there. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that. Another upgrade on the way.
You want to help a brother out or a sister out, even, should I say? Oh, no, I am doing an upgrade, but
you've made really good use of your space in your tank, Colette. It's got so many amazing corals, but like properly, there's not a single space in there. It looks amazing.
I'm constantly moving stuff about because the more and more I go to the fish shop to get water, the more I need more stuff, and I have to just move stuff about to fill more things in.
Yeah, this mystery tour thing. I bet you have to buy something every time you go somewhere. So obviously, it gets packed out, doesn't it, your tank? But it looks amazing. I love the colours. Like you've obviously clearly picked contrasting colours.
when I go into a shop, I tell people I'm not after the high-end stuff, which I know some people go for just high-end, some people go for just the lower end when they're starting out. But for me, all I go off is colour. So if there's some colour to it, I'll buy it. But my problem is I don't know where to stop. If I go into a shop and there's a few different pieces that are all colourful, I mean, don't get me wrong, I probably wouldn't go to the extremes of buying the little chalices like you guys with the like 400 quid. I much prefer a torch if I'm spending a lot more on stuff like that. But that's probably the highest end I'd go is like torches.
So how's your SPS doing? Because you've got is it a strawberry shortcake?
Yeah, I've got a strawberry shortcake, which is doing all right. The colours are still there, but I don't see the polyps out very often. But I think that is down to my wave maker being right in front of it. So I probably need to move that about a little bit.
Yeah.
But the one that's next to it, the barley shortcake, polyps are all out. That's really happy and that's really colourful. So I think it's just about getting the right wave, isn't it, with the SPS?
Yeah.
But the colours are there and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
How do you get on with your starfish? I absolutely love your starfish. How do you get on with that? Is it a tricky thing to look after, or does it move corals around as well? That's what I was wondering.
Starfish, right? Okay, so I have had so many starfish since I started. Ruby, touch wood, right, is the longest going starfish I've ever had. Because before I had this tank, my water parameters were all over the show. I could never, ever get a steady water parameters. And the key to having a starfish, which I now know, which I didn't before, is that you have to have stable parameters. So it was always about keeping my alkalinity right, and my alkalinity was never right. And the other issue that I caused myself was whenever I'd buy a starfish, I'd probably buy a fish at the same time. And I'd add the fish. I didn't know this at the time, but I added the fish bagged water to my tank along with a starfish and potentially a shrimp. I now don't have any shrimp for this reason, because every time I add a shrimp, it used to die, and it's probably because there's too much copper in my tank. Because it kills. There's always copper treatment in the fish tanks in a local fish shop, which I didn't know. No one in any fish shop has ever told me that. It was only someone on Instagram that works in a fish shop that had actually said to me afterwards on one of my videos, I'd shown that I'd entered one of my fish and added the bag, and I never knew that they added copper to the actual fish only systems.
Most of them do as a quarantine, didn't they, Steve? That's what they do it to stop parasites, especially when you've got so many fish in a small space. You could end up with parasites, ick and stress. So they put it in there as that, and that's why you see the cleanup crew and all the shrimps. And usually, if they're in the same system, they wouldn't last 5 minutes. But they have in separate systems. And a lot of the good shops will say when you're acclimating, make sure you do it separate, because you'll never put your shrimps or anything like that in the same pot. If you do, like I do, I put all my fish in a small pot and acclimate them that way. And you always do it separately. And also mandarins are usually kept in with the cleanup crew. They're not kept in with the fish. One, because they don't go very well from a feeding perspective, but also mandarins are usually put through copper either. So they should be in a completely different system.
That's interesting to know. My mandarin wasn't, but that was my issue, is I was always adding my fish. I mean, to be fair, most of my fish have come from the same shop, which is the shop that I used to go to when I used to live in Leyland. And I won't name names, but I didn't know about the copper being in the system. So now I've learned a lesson. So starfish, as long as you've got the right parameters and you're not adding copper to your system, you'll be fine. Ruby's doing great.
And she doesn't move any coals around or anything like that. She doesn't. No.
Issues. I've got Ruby, who's the red one, and then I've got a sand sifting star. I can't remember the name of that one. That's going to really annoy me. But anyway, that's got a name as well. And that sand sifting star I've had for longer than Ruby. Actually thinking about it, just a little bit longer. And they're both doing fine. But the sand sifting star, if you've got sand that needs cleaning, I can highly recommend a sand sifting starfish. They're brilliant. They do move about some of the corals that are on your sand bed, but they do an amazing job at cleaning up. So it's way worth it.
Yeah, I won't get one of them. It'd be like going on Ninja Warrior on my
constantly throwing about.
Yeah, they'll be everywhere. I can't get one of them. No.
But
Isn't it your snails are moving stuff, aren't they, Steve?
Oh mate, my troker snails. He moved my chalice, my rainbow chalice, so close to like a lobo.
How dare it!
It must have been about 1.5 inches away from the lobo, mate. I'm like,
no.
If it touches that, it's game over. There's no going back. That's what happened with me. With my scully, wasn't it? My button scully that I had for over a year, and it grew and grew, and then I came down, and the troker snail had shoved barged its way past, and it pushed it into the lobo, and then the lobo took it to death because they have sweeper tentacles, don't they? So it must have been stinging it all overnight, and it was just toast. When I came down, I was devastated. But you're learning this hobby. That's the problem, and it's just like my SPS troubles that I'm going with. When we put SPS in our tank, we forget that they grow. Do you know what I mean? They're going to grow. They're not going to stay that size. So they're going to have coral warfare. And that's where I'm coming to now, where it's come to the point now where one of them's losing out. So it's the way it is now. There's nothing I can do. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, really. But definitely space your SPSs out. That's for sure.
Yeah, mine are all dotted above the tops at the moment. And I'm trying not to get too close together either. They're just kind of dotted.
It's a must. Don't put them too close because when you get a little tiny frag, a 1-inch frag, you think, oh, it's got plenty of time. But before you know it, within like 6 to 8 months or so, it's turning bigger, and then it spreads on the rock. And then when it starts to spread before it sprouts up, that's when it starts to sting everything. So then you get into that thing of thinking, well, one of them's going to lose out here, and you don't. I made a mistake. I should have thought about it, and I didn't. But it is what it is. I've got to live with it.
Colette, since having my tank, I don't want to move house because it's like such a ball ache moving. Right, you recently moved, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you made it look quite easy, to be fair, on your videos. Did you not lose like anything in that move, or
not?
You must have had some little issues along the way, surely.
No, you know what?
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to touch wood with this because honestly, I feel like my luck with this tank really shouldn't be here still. But,
we'll all touch wood. We'll all touch wood.
Please all touch wood for me, please. When I did my tank move, I had been planning for like a few months on how I would do this tank move and how's the best way to do it. I discussed it with my local fish shop as well, so that I had the stuff that I needed. So the big polystyrene boxes that were big enough to carry the rock and the water at the same time. So it was about prepping, to be honest. And the other thing I didn't do, which I was going to do, but they didn't happen to have it in stock at the time, was I was going to add a full bottle of Colony when I added the water to the tank. I didn't do that because I didn't have it in stock the day that I needed it. So I had to do the whole move without Colony, and I was panicking like mad that I was going to go through a cycle. I was going to lose so much stuff through it. But because I didn't do a water change, I took every single piece of water out of my tank, kept the sand at the bottom as I did the move, and just re-added the same water, just took out the little bits of detritus from the bottom of the sand, and it didn't cycle. And
that's really good.
That's pretty incredible, that, isn't it?
How long did it take you to move, Colette?
What was that?
How long did it take you to do the move with the tank?
So, probably
how many hours does it add to moving?
4 hours. So it was a half an hour drive, so it wasn't too far away to move driving time, but it was about 4 hours in total from when we started taking the water out to when we ended up putting it all back in. And the water was starting to get ever so slightly colder as we were moving. So I was checking the temperature, and the lowest it got to was probably about 22.5. It's still low in comparison to what it normally would be, but I don't think it was low enough to shock everything too much, because I just gradually added more and more in and was getting it up to temperature as I was adding. So the heater was in while I was getting more water in. So I think I did it in an all right way that it didn't shock anything too much.
Yeah.
Right.
Paul, you're on mute, mate.
I know. I feel like Paul's saying.
Yeah,
I got my Wi-Fi, but on mute. So what I was going to say, it was just a gradual temperature reduction, and then it was gradually going back up. It's where it spikes that usually cause problems, and obviously overheating quite often causes more of a problem than if it goes down. So if I just hold there, because there's a couple of questions I just want us to go for, if I may. So we've just got here from Bob Kerr around. Have you guys ever thought about using artificial coral? Less worry about water parameters. For
me, I absolutely hate artificial coral. I'm just going to throw that out there. I cannot stand it. Like, see, when you watch programs like Tanked and so on, they make these absolutely stunning big tanks and fill it with artificial coral that I just think looks terrible. And I cannot stand it.
I've had it in freshwater tanks before, and yeah, it looks all right, but it's just boring.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excitement to knowing that you're growing it. You've got no excitement to it. You know that you're keeping that coral alive. You're growing it. It's doing well because you're doing that. I don't know. It's not
for me, I mean, coral's probably the biggest part of it for me anyway. Because I mean, I've only got 2 clownfish, but my whole enjoyment is out of growing the coral and watching the coral. That's my thing that I like. So you know, when people say to you, "What are you putting in the tank?" and it's, well, I want to put more coral in. I've no interest in more fish. I want more coral. That's the big thing. So yeah, I mean, I get what he's saying about the artificial coral. I mean, water parameters and so on, but not for me.
Yeah, same here. For me, it's the corals. It did start actually. It was the fish more than a coral, but then as you start getting into corals and as you say, the shiny corals and everything else, you just think I just want more of those. And I think the beauty of growing one with one polyp, and then it grows out into a colony. To me, there's nothing more satisfying than that, because you've taken it from a 1-inch stick or a zoa with one polyp or a anything like that. It's really good. So that's the appeal to me. I know, Jay, you go on a lot about the corals and keeping them, and looking at the research of what type of ones they've got.
Yeah, and also your corals are doing a job, aren't they? They're telling you what your parameters are. So if you've got fish, obviously you're going to have to test more probably, because you're not going to see. Whereas my Duncan starts to sulk at anything, I just know there's something happening then, and I need to intervene. So, and like you said, it's like at first it was the fish. It was all about the fish, but now it's all about the corals. They're just addictive, aren't they, Steve? Steve knows about addictive corals, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, he hates corals.
He's only got about 2 or 3 this week again, I bet.
Next joke.
I'm like Colette. I'm like her. If I go to an LFS or anything like that, I end up coming away with a coral, so I try to stay away. Unless it's absolutely necessary, I need to go there, then that's the only time I go. But
you can't meet me on a fishery tour then, Steve. No. Sorry.
That's what I mean. the credit cards will be getting hammered if I met you. That's for sure.
Oh, okay, meet me on the next fishery tour then.
You need to get on it, Steve.
There's no space in my tank now. As much as I want to add something in it, I'm looking at Rockscape, and we were talking like artificial rock and stuff. Yeah. Now I do like the Carib Sea life rock. I do like that. It looks pretty, pretty decent. It does look pretty good. The life rock, and to build that tower, that tower that I want to go over me Euphilia. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't know. I don't know what to do with it really now. I don't know. I keep changing my mind whether to add one or whether to not, because if I add another rock, then it means I've got to add more coral. And
got to fill it again.
I know, and I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know what to do, but we'll see.
Okay, so it sounds like a big no from all of us. So I'll just move on to the next question. With this question, I've heard that sandfish. I
think
starfish eat anemones. I don't know is the answer to that. I haven't come across that. I'm not saying they don't, but I haven't heard that or read anything about that at all.
I've had my anemone in my tank pretty much since I started, and starfishing, and I've never had that issue. I've also, when I say I've got an anemone, I've got still about 5 different anemones. I've got a carpet anemone.
I'm laughing at that video with your dad.
No, the bubble tip anemones, I'm down, but I've still got loads of other different anemones in this tank. So I've got a red beaded one that I got on eBay when I first started out from the Fluval Flex, which was like £13, and it probably came from some sea water in this country and not in different countries. That's still thriving in the back of the tank somewhere. Then I've got like 3 different condy anemones that are just tiny tube anemones that are like purple and green. They were also from eBay that split 3 times, but they're still going. I see them from time to time as well. And then I've got a carpet anemone and my bubble tip, but starfish I've never touched or gone near actually any of the anemones.
Have you not had the power tools out on any of those then yet, or the power drill, the bandsaw? That is so good. That was funny. That was with the rock and the blooming power tools. Just jumped
I
off.
don't think I'll ever live this one down.
I was like, I could do with mine moving. I've been trying to get mine out for ages.
I was like, Dad, I need to split in between these 2 anemones, and they're a bit close. And he was like, right, I'll get the grinder out. I'll get it out.
Oh dear.
Oh my God.
No messing. No messing.
Okay, so we'll just move on to the next question. Can new lights start by diatom bloom?
Probably.
So
Yeah,
I think
I'll switch them on. It will, yeah.
I think also if you have new lights and they're more powerful and you turn them up, you're changing the power in your light, the par. So yes, I think it can. It certainly would happen more often in a newer tank where you haven't got the biodiversity in there. And certainly if you switch your lights on during the cycle or just after the cycle, most people get a diatom bloom and then followed by some kind of ugly stage. Well, that's part of the ugly stage. So I would say it can. It really depends. If you've got an established tank, it's less likely to happen, but it could still if you ramping up the powers. You go from 1 lights to 3, put a combination of hybrids over there. You got some you didn't have radians, and now you have, and you pump it up to 100%, that kind of thing. I think for sure it definitely can.
I did when I added my 3rd light to my tank.
Yeah.
Like I just started to see a brown covering, on the rocks where there wasn't any coral, and I just blew it off. And after a couple of weeks, it just went away.
Claire, I was going to ask you about your lights. So you run quite a blue spectrum, and obviously corals really pop. Is that just for like social media and Instagram and YouTube, or do you actually run a really blue spectrum on your tank all the time?
No, I do, yeah. So my lights are set on, if anyone does have that's on this live feed, the Reef LED 90, I run the 23K light setting, which I did a lot of research on when I did my light setting. And that seemed to have the best reviews out of all of the lights that are currently out on the market at that setting only for a mixed reef tank, which is what I've got. So I have it on that, which is 10% white and 100% blue. That's just for everyday use. When I do like today's photo, for instance, that was full spectrum blue, and I turned all the white off just for that photo. And it's only for a matter of taking one photo and then putting it straight back again. I don't mess about with it and leave it like that. But I love the blue. I love to have a massive pop of blue to see the colours. I hate white lighting. It shows everything.
Yeah, I'm all about the blue spectrum. It just looks better. It looks cleaner, and like you say, the colours just pop. And your tank really pops. I just didn't know if it was kind of just for photographs. So I can see it's running quite blue at the moment. It looks good. It does look good.
Thank you.
When I actually started off with quite a white spectrum, but see when I first put the coral in, I really didn't like it at all. So that's when I changed over to the kind of heavy blue that I've got. And now I can't go back to the white. Every time I put the white back on again, it looks terrible.
If your tank looks good under white, you're doing really well, because that is hard.
You are. Yeah, I was just gonna say that you're doing really well if it looks good under white, because I absolutely hate looking at mine under white light and you can see everything. But what was I going to say then? The other reason why I've got it on more blue is because when I used to have 30% white and 100 blue, I had a really bad diatom bloom, and every time, so I tested it over the space of a month, and I kept the white in there, turned the blue slightly down, and the more white that I added, the more diatoms I was seeing daily. So when I turned my white down to 10%, I only get a really thin sheet of diatoms on my glass now in comparison to when I turn my lights up. So I leave it now on 23K. That's that, because I've noticed the difference as months have gone on.
I noticed that my algae is a lot less when I run a deeper blue spectrum. As soon as you put the whites on, or if I have the curtains open more, Yeah, they started to get a bit more, get a bit greener.
Yeah.
You just don't want it, do you? Doesn't look
It's
nice.
the constant cleaning. It's
Yeah,
annoying
the
every
glass.
day.
Yeah, you have to clean the glass every day, otherwise it starts to get like baked on, doesn't it? The algae starts to get baked on, and even my little nano scraper, it won't clean it sometimes.
Sometimes I've got to get my hand inside the tank for the flipper blade, and actually bat it when it's hardened at certain areas. It's annoying.
Yeah, I think the only one that I've actually seen looking really good with white lights was Nano Tank Reefer. He seems to do all these videos and all that kind of stuff under really white lights. His tank looks really good, and I don't know how he does it because I put my white lights on, it looks terrible. I think it was Reef King just said their blue lights hide all the crap in the tank, and he's totally right with that.
I reckon we should have honestly on Instagram, we should all just take a 100% white picture of our tanks. Just to show the reality of this hobby. They're not that pretty under whites generally.
You'll lose about 400 subscribers.
I know I would.
It's just alright. It's just the truth of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the truth of it. Someone
this is a really good
day. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Claire. Go on.
I was just going to say, someone did a post the other day, and it started doing its rounds, and it was to take a picture in natural daylight.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I tried to take so many pictures, but it just kept reflecting on the TV or the glass or something else. I couldn't get a good picture, so I just didn't enter.
Yeah. What I was going to say is this. I mean, Joe, do you remember when you had the problems 2 or 3 weeks ago? We said put the lights onto white because you can really see if there's a problem. Yeah. I mean, because it shows all its glory, doesn't it? If you've got an algae problem or anything that starts out, if you can see algae in that when it's blue, you kind of know it's got quite bad. So the tank behind me, that's running white lights, and I like that. The ones in the garage are on blue, but I just like it a little bit whiter, that particular tank. But I don't think there's many people that do. I've had it from whites from day one, and it's okay. Actually, I enjoy it. I can actually see more. I can't see as much in the other 2 tanks because they're slightly bluer. But I think I've got used to it more than anything else. But there's not many that run their tanks, especially when you've got Radians that sell the blue lights, and I imagine that's far more popular than the
Pro,
the other one. Yeah.
Right. I'd be interested to know if it was, how many they sold blue ones compared to pros.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I bet they sell well more, probably blues, maybe, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the difference is...
Sorry, Colette. Yeah, blues just make your corals pop more, don't they? That's all they do, don't they, really? Let's be honest. That's why we buy coral. We don't want it to be looking dull and drab and covered in green algae that's on the back walls and stuff, because that's what you see when you run with whites in it. When you have it on a high blue, I think I run my whites at about 8% on my tank, the most. I don't really run. I don't run any reds and greens because that promotes algae anyway. So they're at 0 on all of them. But
you know what? When they're collecting these torches out of the sea, obviously they all look pretty much white. Yeah. And then they get them back, and they're like, obviously, if it shines like green and yellow, like, oh yes, got a grail. You probably don't even know what you've got until you put it under the blues, would you? It's like a bit of a lottery. You'd be like, yes, I can sell that for more money. That one.
So what's it down there?
They just take an orange filter underneath the water, Jay. And
oh, maybe.
It'd go rusty.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to bring in our next guest. Colette, you're welcome to stay.
Oh, okay.
So it's our good friend, Cajun Reefer. He's on here every week. Welcome,
Hi.
Hi. And our first person from across the pond as well. So welcome.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness.
Stardom or whatever it's called.
I feel like I have to talk in an accent to match with you guys. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Honestly, not a chance. The only issue is now there's a better dancer on here, isn't there, Steve?
There is.
Yeah.
I've not seen Cajun Reefer's video. She's way better dancer than you, Steve, to be honest.
I'm not competing no more, mate.
Your ironing board dance needs a bit of practice.
That's it.
Oh, my goodness.
Awesome.
So, Brittany, welcome.
Wait, what's up?
How's your new build going?
It's going well. It's the biggest tank I've ever had, and I know Colette was talking about the whole sump thing, and I actually kind of have a funny story about that.
Oh no!
Oh no, she's gone.
Oh, she's got a touch of
Internet's gone.
This is what you get.
the Mackie D Wi-Fi.
Showing your Wi-Fi code.
I thought it was me for a minute. I'm thinking, oh my god, it's gone because my kids are out, my wife's out, the house is cleared, so the Wi-Fi should be good.
She's not put her dollars in the meter. She's not dollars in the meter.
It's just you and the dog then.
Hey, here we go.
We're back.
Hey.
Oh no, I feel like who was it? Reef King?
You feel like me.
Yeah. Okay, so the return pump, it's got like the different levels. It's got an eco mode, which I didn't know it had an eco mode, and so it doesn't push a lot of water out. And so my husband's like sticking his hands in the tank, and he's like, "Bae, like the water, you need to do something with this." So I turn it up and I open the bottom and there's water splashing everywhere because I guess it can't keep up with, oh my God, it was terrible. I was like, this is how I'm gonna die. Like the water's gonna the house is gonna catch on fire, the electrical it was so bad. So I think I finally have everything tuned the way I want. So yeah.
When I first set mine up, I had a flood.
Have you got a Vectra, is it? What return pump have you got?
The Reef Octopus.
Oh, Reef Octopus, yeah. So
yeah.
It's all DC out there.
Yeah.
DC controls.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Mine's
but
just
yeah.
a standard one. You just have like an open and shut valve. It's really like boring.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, obviously, like with reefing, you need just towels. That's the thing that no one tells you. Because everyone.
No, you need poppy pads. That's what you need to.
Yeah, when I first set mine up, I was like, "Oh, this sounds brilliant. It looks really good." The next minute, it's like, "What? Pissing out the bottom of here?" Because I didn't realise, but your return like pipe, your top up pipe. Yeah. Well, I thought the auto top up had to be in the water, so I put it obviously to top it up. Basic. I didn't know. I was like an absolute beginner. And anyway, all the water was emptying out of here, going into the top-off tank, and then just flooding the whole bedroom. So I was like,
that one is a video, Jay.
No, it's all right. But yeah, so
what happened to the Jaysville Reef pea pads, Jay? Did you make them?
What's that?
The Jaysville Reef pea pads. Did you make them?
No, I haven't got those yet, mate. No, not yet.
No,
I need to get onto it. Merchandise. I need some merchandise. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Poppy pea pads. That's your one, mate.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I need.
Towels. We need more towels.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So is it 250 you've got? Is it 250 yours, Cajun Reefer?
It's what was that? Hang on.
You're working in gallons, don't you?
Gallons. Yeah, I don't do liters.
Oh my God. I thought it was my Yorkshire accent, but maybe it's just I'm using like the different measurements. Yeah, gallons.
Get the conversions out.
It's 90.3, so the display I think is about 60, and then the sump underneath is 30. So tomorrow,
300 liters is that? That's about 300 liters.
I don't know, you're talking gibberish to me.
Yeah, it's about 300 liters.
Steve's just had the calculator out there, haven't you, mate?
No, I think it's similar to mine because I think mine's. Let me weigh this out. Google is the best. Yeah, 93 gallon. I think it's about 300 liters.
So is it cycle? Are you starting to cycle it? Are you cycling it fishless, or are you using like one of these lotions and potions like Colony or whatever?
I did the Dr. Tim's and then the ammonia. Tested everything, the ammonia, the nitrite went down to 0, added some. I've got some clownfish in there right now. I think they're black snowflakes. I bought them. They were already a mated pair.
US gallons, it's 350.
So you got me beat. But yeah, I actually I named them, and I don't know if you guys want to hear what their names are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so keep in mind they're a mated pair. So the female is called Ironing Board, and the smaller one is called Steve.
Oh, genius.
mate.
I'll see you next week.
You've made it, Steve. You have made it. You're a legend across the pond.
I've made my name across the pond now. I can't say fair than that. That's it now. I could retire.
They're so cute. They never leave each other's side. I mean, it's like it's so
It's
cute.
so true then.
Yeah, it's so true. Based on a true story.
I'm never gonna live the ironing board down, am I?
You're not.
Like,
No.
I'm never gonna live the grinder down. You're never gonna live the ironing board down.
Exactly. That's good.
How is the ironing board, Steve? How is the ironing board?
It's in the corner today, mate. She's over there.
Oh, and get Evo out.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Like Dirty Dancing.
Watched Wally.
Hey?
I really enjoyed spending the evening whilst you were really drunk. It was funny.
Right, I need to watch Wally now because there's a little white robot and it's called something like Evo or Eve, and the shape of the box around where the ironing board is it was Evo. It was stood there dancing with Evo.
Gonna have to look this up.
So that means if you've got a Steve in there, there's going to be loads of corals as well, then, isn't there? With the he's obviously going to want corals because Steve wants corals. That's what it's about. So,
my next addition to the tank was going to be a snail, who I was going to name after you, Jay, and then
which is, I mean, I don't know, but something a bit glamorous. I don't know. Let's. I'll be a coral if I can choose.
He wants to be a rainbow chalice.
Snail, is that it? They're like there's like £1 snail. No one actually.
Brilliant.
It's like the only thing in your tank without being too rude.
Cheap ass.
That no one gives you shit if it dies.
Yeah, Jay, you don't
Lazy. Oh.
You don't like spending.
Can I be a conch then? I want to be a decent snail, for God's sake.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
conch. Brilliant.
Nail. Thanks. Jay the
You're
snail.
welcome.
Thank you. No, honestly, I'm actually quite honoured to be in your tank, so I appreciate it.
And when you get a crab, you've got to call it Ross.
Yeah, you are.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, look, free the crab.
Free the crab.
Oh my God.
I don't know what's worse, being a snail or a crab. I'm not sure.
What's that? I'm happy with my
yeah, to be honest, Black Pearl Reef, it is a bit of a piss take being a snail, isn't it, really?
You're always going on about being a Yorkshireman.
Yeah.
This is what you
Maybe. Yorkshiremen are tight and a snail's like the cheapest thing you can buy, so maybe that's what it is. So if I'm a snail, Ross the crab, what's Paul?
Oh no!
I don't know. I'm at a loss for that one. I was gonna get like a Rainford goby, like the little.
That's decent.
Oh,
That's
okay.
decent.
They're quiet. They just do their own thing. They're nice. They're sweet.
That's nice. So what you're saying is I'm a bit slow.
Well, they're always making fun of you. That's because you take forever with the nitrate test. So I mean,
yeah,
That's a valid point.
that's what it is. Yeah, valid
That's a
point
fair
there.
point.
Valid point.
Oh, dear.
That's good. So we're all going to feature in your new tank.
oh,
I'll have to get you in mine now, Cajun Reef. I'm going to have to get something. I think it's something really interesting.
oh,
The worst
thanks.
bit is, imagine trying to explain that to people who don't know who this live stream is and everything. They would just not have a clue why you've got a fish call
Over
down.
the head.
It won't make any sense.
We'll just have to get it up. You'll have to make them watch it.
Make sure you make a video about this snail. I want to see.
I got you.
Thanks.
He's not attention seeking, honestly.
Can you put a time lapse though? Because I don't want it to be too, slow. What? Speed it up a bit. Speed it up a bit.
Oh my God.
Oh, you've made me laugh there. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Oh, dear. So
Is
Brittany,
Colette featuring or not? Or does she is Colette featuring in your new tank or is she escaping?
Yes, she will. Obviously, I just have to find something.
Bubble tip anemone if you ever end up getting one of them.
I do have a bubble tip anemone. It's pretty.
Oh,
Oh.
it's not got a name. I mean,
Well,
call it Grinder.
Yeah,
But don't call it that.
Don't Google that, will you? Whatever you
No,
do.
do not look up that. It's not.
I don't know if that translates to American, but don't Google it, whatever you do.
Oh dear.
It's not even 9 o'clock yet, Jay.
We haven't got to the watershed and lowered the tone with that one now.
I mean, yeah, Google it. Just not with kids around.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Back to
So moving on. So
We're all
Brittany,
wrecked now.
have you still got the 3 tanks up?
I do. I have 3 of them. We just moved the nano that was in my kitchen. We moved it into our spare bedroom, which is it's right behind me right here. And it was probably one of the scariest things of my, because I did a water change before I took some water out. That way it would be easier to carry. And so me and my husband are like shuffling across the house, and I'm like looking down, and I can see the fish are like looking up at me in horror, like, what are you doing to me? But I mean, it took like 5 seconds to move it from the kitchen here. And then I have the Innovative Marine. It's a 30-gallon and all-in-one. It's in the living room, and then the water box. So this is the biggest tank, and then the only tank that I've had with the sump underneath.
So the plan, are you going to keep running all 3 of them, or do you plan to close one of them down?
Oh, I'm going to keep all 3 of them running.
Go all out.
Wow.
All in, eh?
Yeah.
Commitment, that is. I struggle with one, little one. Honestly.
What with the tank?
I've been serious. The number of hours you spend with a reef tank is unbelievable. Like, I thought you'd drop a bit. Yeah, I thought you'd drop a bit of food in once a day and then clean it maybe for half an hour once a week. Oh no, it's like hours and hours each day. At least 2 hours a day I spend messing.
Yeah, but I'm home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I only work 3 days a week, so I've got plenty of time.
Oh my God, sounds like your job, Ross.
Nah.
Always on strike, you.
Cajun Reef, I'm really interested. Brittany, it's Brittany, is it? Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know your first name until it's just Brittany. So when you're buying corals in America, how do they compare to the UK? So like a torch over here is about, let's just say, £100 a head. Are they cheaper where you are in terms of corals? Are they more expensive in the UK?
So that's about $120 roughly, isn't it? $120.
Yeah.
Ish.
It's about the same. The torch that we have in the Innovative Marine, it's just like I don't know what you call it. I'm sure everyone has a different name for it, but it's really pretty. It's purple, and then it's got like the green tips, at the top. And it came, I mean, when I saw it in the store, it was huge. I couldn't even tell how many heads it had because it was so, expanded and whatnot. And I think I paid $150 for it. And so now in the tank, it's got at least 5. And I was telling my husband earlier, I was like, you need to frag this. And he kind of looked at me with these big eyes, and he's like, no, I need like all these tools. And I was like, oh, poor you need more tools. So
just bought a collect stats. He'll come over.
Yeah. Pop over the sea.
Yeah. But yeah, it's about the same price, I feel like.
Okay, I've just got a couple of comments here. There's one for you.
You do seem to have a lot of choice over there. Steve, why does your microphone sound like you're down a cave or something?
Very quiet, Steve.
Sound like you're miles away.
Does it?
Mm.
Well, my son did drop the laptop.
Yeah, I can't barely hear you.
I think that might be it. Is it dead low? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What I'll do is I'll go off and I'll see if I can adjust it.
Yeah, you're really quiet, mate. Not like you.
Why don't you do that? Hello.
Spend 3 hours.
Hey.
I'm not being funny, right? But just get hammered on a Friday night. I think
You love it. You love it, Jay.
that's why I'm a snail. I have to have a hard shell with all this grief that people give me. I do love it. Honestly, life's too short. Let's just have a good laugh about everything.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
What's on your
Having
t-shirt?
fun, buying corals and spending loads of money. What's that?
What's on your t-shirt?
So I bought one of Ross's t-shirts. It came. Have I cut off here?
No, we can hear. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, you're there.
I think my internet's gone here.
Oh no! Have you got talk as well?
He's going the same way as Steve.
Can you hear me? I don't know if you can see me. Here it is. Yeah.
Do you know what? He's doing it on purpose just to get the limelight.
He just loves the attention,
What?
doesn't he?
What's going on here?
Oh, Jay, have you got a question, Jay?
I just took it off. Did you not see that bit?
Fortunately, you dropped out.
We're lucky there,
I
mate.
got it off. What's that?
We're lucky we missed you getting naked.
I don't know what the hell's going on here. I can't hear anybody. Anyway, so I bought it
It's all
off.
right. I think
I bought it off Ross's merchandise, beardedreef.com. Oh yeah, that was because the internet glitched. So I bought it off Big Ross's.
Jay, there's something going on with your internet. Mate.
Probably is. And yeah, I liked it. Really good quality, nice stitching, well printed.
Oh,
He's gone.
he's been put out of his misery. Here comes Steve. Steve is back.
So, Brittany, I think we had a question here. So, can we have the YouTube channels so that people can check them out?
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 videos on it, but you guys can knock yourselves out.
Brittany, there's quite a few other people called Cajun Reef. And whilst I've subscribed to your channel, it's quite hard to find when you search it.
I'll work on that. I'll try to fix that. Sorry.
I'll subscribe to your channel anyway.
It is on there.
Sorry,
Can we
Claire?
put it in the comments or something, Paul, or put it in the description of the video, maybe?
Oh yeah, that might be good idea. Mine's just Colette's Marine Tank all together as one, no spaces.
Brittany, what's yours?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not good at it. It's Cajun _ reefer _ and that should it's my Instagram name, so that should be it. Yeah.
Do I sound better now?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Terrible, mate.
Sounds perfect on the stream, mate.
You're okay now?
Does it sound better? Yeah. Is he taking a bit? Is he taking a bit?
Just a touch.
You just popped for no reason.
Hey?
You just popped off for no reason.
There was nothing wrong at all, Steve. He just wanted the ironing board.
It's charming, that, mate. I tell you. Know your friends are.
So anyway,
Steve, what are you drinking tonight, mate?
Sorry?
What are you drinking tonight?
Drinking the usual, mate.
Rosé,
a bow.
Strongbow.
Strongbow.
What's in the shell?
What's in your shell? What's in your shell, Colette?
I've got cherry sours and Coke.
Oh, cherry sour. Right.
Been chip.
Brittany, is it still too early for you to be drinking?
Yeah, I have an energy drink, so that's what
What time is it over there, Brittany? Over where you are?
It's 3 o'clock right here. Over here.
Wow.
I'm on the Jura tonight.
Jura?
Yeah.
Never
What's
heard
that?
of it.
What's that? Is it a whiskey? I've never
Yeah,
heard
it's
of
also an
that.
island in Scotland. That's what it's named after.
Oh,
Oh, is
okay.
it? Right.
Yeah. Quite a nice one, actually.
What are you on, Paul?
I'm on the hard stuff, orange juice. Well, it's sugar free. So as you know, I'm diabetic. So if I have a beer or something like that, it ain't worth the aggro.
No.
You hear my alarm go off anyway because I've got a new auto checker fitted today.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you hear the bleeping.
Apex or a GHL or what is it?
No, we're not. It works. It works.
thought
It
was
works
an
24/7. We're not going there, Ross. It works fine. I do have to calibrate it every so often, but it takes about 2 seconds to do it. And touch wood, it is fine 24/7. So yeah, I very rarely do I drink because of the sugar content. Just doesn't
Not
do me any good. It ain't worth the aggro.
I thought it was the Inkbird alarm system that kept going off.
No, it's my phone because it goes onto my phone. So when it goes out and it goes too high or too low, I get an alarm, which is a bit of a pig at 3 o'clock in the morning when it wakes up the whole house. But there we go.
Oh God.
You put that on vibrate, mate.
I wouldn't wake up.
Brittany, what's the plans for the water box? What are you planning to do with it?
That's a good question. Probably, like LPS softies. I can't keep SPS to save my life. And I don't know if it's just because, I've really never tried. There were 2 little pieces in here that we took out of the Innovative Marine because one was bleaching from the top and then one was bleaching from the bottom. So I was like, just put it in my tank, try to get your stuff right, and then we'll transfer it back whenever your tank's stable enough. And then we ended up just killing them, unfortunately. So so I don't know, probably just some Zoas, some Acans. I'm excited. I do want to get a Tang, but I feel like it's probably not big enough, so I'll have to put that on hold, I guess.
You could get a Tang and then just get a bigger tank when it grows up.
Yeah, just get a bigger one.
The problem with a Tang in a smaller tank is just the bioload, and it starts sending you nitrates and phosphates, and then you start chasing numbers and stuff like that. That's a problem. But that tank is big enough, and definitely once it's mature, to put SPS in every day of the week. You put some really nice ones in there, and then you got the trouble of trying to get a balanced reef, haven't you, between keeping the SPS happy and your Zoas and your LPS, and then it becomes a different problem altogether, doesn't it?
Right.
How long are we going to keep Jay out for?
It's the same size tank as mine. That what Brittany's got, 350 litres. So
yeah,
I've got two tangs in my tank.
It's 4 foot.
Yeah, it's 4 foot. Yeah. See, people say about tangs, whether they can have tangs in the tank and stuff like that. Now, I've had this discussion with loads of people before, saying the tank's too small. Now, if you've got, like, say, a 50-litre tank or so, then I agree, you're not going to put a tank in a tank like that. Yeah? But if you've got a 200-litre tank, you can get a small tank, you can get mimic tanks, you can get loads of different tanks, yeah? And as they grow up, you've had the enjoyment of seeing it in your tank, and then you could just take it out, trade it in, take it to it, or get a smaller one. And that's what I would do. You know what I mean? I got mine just as I had my 170 because I knew I was upgrading. So I put my yellow tank to 170, and then obviously it was only small, but I knew I was upgrading to the 350, and it's loving life. It loves life in there. You know what I mean? So anybody can have a tank, providing it's an average tank. You know what I mean? And not a 50-litre tank. Then
So I hated that. I hate that because I had a Regal tank and a Vampire tank that came with the tank, and they were both like size of 50p, to about 1.5 inches. And they both got to 7 inches each. Yeah. And I ended up giving the Regal away because to a shop that had a 10 by 10 tank, and then I sold the Vampire to a guy who had a 12-foot tank that I know. I was saying, like, I'll give them away cheap. I just want to go to a nice home. And someone was saying, I got a 6-foot tank, 7-foot tank. I said, no, mine's a 5-foot. There ain't much difference in size of that, but they just got huge in about 18 months. Superb fish. So now I wouldn't get in the 5-foot anything other than the yellow tank. That's just my personal view. Because they just outgrow the tanks so quickly, and the bioload went down by half when I got rid of both of those tanks. So that's, I know Pox went from about 14 a day to 6.5 a day in terms of that. That's how much it dropped, because they're such messy eaters, and they're so much of a pigs as well. But
true that. It's the bioload is the worst thing.
Yeah.
When you see a tank doing its number fit to what you need, it's stupidly, it's tons. It's like a rhino's in your tank. That's what it's like. It's like a rhinoceros is in it. It's just shocking. It is, but like you said, I think, and AM corals put down, as long as like you've got the skimming and filtration in it, enough of it, I don't see there being a problem. And if you can move it on like Paul did, then you know what, it's a win-win because you get to enjoy it, and then you can move on to a bit at home. You know what I mean? So
they're lovely fish. They are for sure. They just get. It depends what you. I didn't have a clue about either of those tanks. As I said, they got on tank, so I had no idea they grow to 7, 8, 9 inches big. And I'm thinking, no way. I mean, it wouldn't have stopped me buying the tank, to be fair. But I probably would have got rid of them from day one because I was absolutely gutted. We were gutted when we got rid of them. So a vampire tang is really, it's a superb, superb fish, and it's really underrated. It's quite grey when it's juvenile, and then it gets a real kind of petrol blue edge around it. It's just fantastic. But there we go. So I've got a question here. What's the flashing light on Colette's tank?
It's not on the tank. I thought for this live stream I'd have some disco lights going on in the background. I'm having a party with Michelle.
Yes, Michelle.
So I'm not going to flash it at the camera, but I've got some party lights.
You were just expecting Stevie dancing again, that's all it was.
Yeah, that's what she wanted to see me dance, didn't she? That's what it was. Come on, Colette.
Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
Big fish, little fish, ironing board.
Tamini tangs, you know what? I love Tamini tangs. And they stay relatively small, Tamini tangs. They don't grow that big, really. You know, they're not as big as like a real tang and stuff like that. I don't think they grow as big as yellow tangs, actually. Did it, Paul? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I know they're one of the smaller ones, but I'm not too sure how big they get to. I would have said similar to a yellow tang, maybe slightly smaller, but a yellow tang are not big at all.
No.
That's for good.
What is going on with my internet?
You've not paid your bill, Jay.
You got Mackie D.
It's expensive.
Proper Yorkshireman.
Yorkshire broadband doesn't even work.
Spent his money on tea.
Save your money. Save your money. Gow said I need fibre. I'm supposed to be on fibre. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Is it Yorkshire Teabag sponsoring the Wi-Fi?
Have you not heard the advert on the TV? There's an advert for, is it PlusNet's Yorkshire Broadband? Is that what you're on?
Yeah, that's it. It's ever since Brittany called me a snail, everything's slowed right down.
Hey, Jade, there's a good comment now.
Someone else taking the pee. Wait up.
just an observation.
That's just defrosted on the kitchen floor. That has the freezer still. That's a good comment. That's good.
Ross has let her know for you, Jay.
I know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. We take it in turns. It was Paul last week. He had McDonald's Wi-Fi. It's me this week.
We hand it around.
Yeah, hand it around. Yeah. So thanks, Ross, for my T-shirt. I really like it. It's
good, man. I'm glad you like it.
Really good quality, nicely stitched. Looks like it irons well. Looks like a decent T-shirt.
There you go. Thanks very much, mate. Glad you like it.
So yeah, good, and it was good delivery. So fair play. The only thing was the Tesco guy was trying to wonder what reefing was. I think he thought it was like some sort of gang smoke or something like that. I don't think he really. He was just puzzled by why I was wearing this T-shirt in the house.
That's a good thing then, mate. It makes them confused. That's what you want.
Imagine answering the door with a top that says porn reef.
Well, I didn't explain mine, but you'd have to explain that. If you answer the door with that, you'd have to explain it, wouldn't you?
Actually, it was even worse because it got delivered and I opened the delivery downstairs and my dad was sat in the room while I was opening this T-shirt that says porn reef.
That's brilliant.
Sent me the wrong T-shirt.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
It's a brilliant T-shirt.
And then I got blocked from Instagram that night, and I was going mad. It was like no wonder.
Yeah. So Ross, did you put those new ones up? You know, those new suggestions? Did they go on as well or not?
I did, mate. I picked one from last week.
All right.
Just 2 seconds. I'll see if I can share my screen and show you it because I've got it sitting here.
Yeah.
So
there was some crackers last week. There's some really good ones.
Yeah.
And obviously, where there's an idea, there's money to be made, isn't there, Ross? So you can. Is it on a water bottle, a mouse mat, a towel, a t-shirt?
No, it's just.
So before you put that up, there's a question there about how long has each streamer been in the hobby. So I've been in the hobby since 2014. So that'll be 7 years in August of this year. So if I just go round, Jay, how long have you been in the hobby? That's the wrong time.
Oh, sorry, my family's just come home. I've been in the hobby 8 months, 9 months, something like that. Yeah, okay. 9 months roughly. So an absolute beginner.
Steve, how long have you been reefing?
I've been in the hobby for 3 years and 3 years and 4 months. I've been in the hobby for.
Okay, so quite a lot of experience. Ross?
I'm the absolute baby of the group. I've only been 6 months, so I'm just getting my toes wet just now.
And Colette?
Mine has been just over 8.5 years, but I did have a 5-year gap in between. So a good few years in marine, but then all my life with freshwater before that.
Okay, thank you. And Brittany?
I started in 2016, so a little over 5 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Brittany, did you start with saltwater or did you have fresh or tropical or anything like that?
So no, I started with freshwater, and that's actually how I met my husband. We worked at like a pet store, and we didn't have saltwater. So every time someone would come in with a saltwater question, I'd like call him on the little radio and be like, "Hey, can you come help me for a second?" So that's So he introduced me to the saltwater hobby, and I started with a little. It's the Fluval, the little 5 gallon, the little nano. That's what I started with 5 years ago. So,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So, Ross, are you able to share your screen, or do you want to do it a little bit later? Are you ready?
I can do it. I don't know if it's going to let me do it or not. Well, let me try, mate. Because I don't quite know how this works.
Dare I ask how the pricing's going on?
So I've been non-stop with them for the pricing. Can you see that yet?
Oh,
yeah.
So that's the one that I chose from last week, which was Backshift Reaper, I believe, that gave that on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is available to buy, is it, Ross? Because that's straight from the site.
Long story short, the pricing structure, for some reason, the website struggles to pick up where you're from because it ships worldwide. So what it's actually doing is struggling to determine where you live. When you get to the checkout, it's all right. So all the prices now at the checkout are correct. It's just the prices from the first page aren't. So checkout prices are okay. That's the one to go for, basically.
Right.
But
that top's just for males, then, yeah.
No. If you want to get that, then you can. There's other ones available as well.
Don't open it in front of your dad, though. That one, for sure.
I won't do that ever again.
Yeah, probably better not to.
Can you order that T-shirt in extra small, or does it not work?
I don't know if there's an extra small. Yeah, it might not be that much of an extension if you get an extra small.
Have you got any junior sizes? That's a bit wrong, that bit, was there? That's a bit wrong.
Yeah, I didn't. It does actually give you the option to make kids' t-shirts, and I thought, no, there's no way that on a kids' t-shirt. I thought, no, we'll stop that there.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
Yeah, don't do that. But I like yours as well. You've got the crab. Are we getting a crab update? I need a crab update.
I've got to get that one.
Let me see if I can find it. He's actually playing with his balls just now.
Like the sign language lady on the BBC.
I know. I keep on putting on mute because the dog's barking. Anyway, right. So what I'm going to try and do now, because I thought we could only have 6 people on the stream, I'm going to bring someone else in, and then we'll see if that works or whether it kicks anyone out.
Yeah.
So
we got more people coming on. That's brilliant.
Yeah. So let's have a look. Add to stream.
The size of our faces are going to be about that big.
Right. No, it won't. So unfortunately, it won't allow anyone else in.
I'll jump off. Honestly, I'll jump off because my internet's not brilliant anyway, and I'll come back on if you want me later.
You sure?
Yeah. I'll go and count my snails or something.
I think he's upset with me. I'm sorry, Jay.
Brittany, no, I love it. Honestly, genuinely, I love it. Anything that's up for laugh is good. Right, I'll jump off and I'll just watch. All right, see you later. See you in a bit, guys and girls.
See you in a bit, Jay.
Here's Jay.
Right.
I'll jump off and I'll just watch. All right,
There he is.
guys and girls.
Here's Jay.
What's happening?
So how's the Wi-Fi?
Have you put your money in your meetup this time?
Yeah, no, it's a new computer, isn't it?
So Cole, turn the background sound off because we can hear you. It's echoing through.
I've still got a delay, you know.
Background sound off because we can hear you.
Have you got the stream on, Carl?
Oh my goodness.
So he's
Still got a delay, you know.
That's right. You turn the stream off so we can hear you.
Yeah,
No, it was the I bought a new computer, didn't I? So I had a little laptop and that weren't working. I had the phone, that weren't working. So I get a new computer. And yeah, it seems to be doing all right. What's going on? How is everyone?
Yeah,
Hey, Carl, I've got your towel here.
Well, listen, that's expensive towel. That's from Harrods. Oxy, how did they come out? Did they come out all right, them pollets?
Good, mate. You know what? Growing already, mate. I posted a video today. You'll see them. I'll show you. Showing on it, yeah.
Do you know what's really funny? In the new tank, I've put the Peninsula one. I put some in there, and they're struck. The SPS is doing fine. The LPS is doing fine. Everything's thriving, right? All the hard stuff is doing perfect.
Yeah.
I've got 3 different clove polyps in there. I've got one of them. It must have about, I don't know, 50 heads on it. I struggle, man. But I think the cowfish is eating them. That's what I think it is.
Yeah. Could be, mate.
He's having a little nibble at stuff, but you know what? I've got loads of it in the coral room anyway. But yeah, it's going all right, man.
Yeah. How's your SPS tank doing? Is it doing okay?
Do you know what? To be honest with you, since after the lockdown, I had more time on my hands because I was self-employed and I was getting weighed out by the government. I had loads and loads of time, so I literally would go and finish a job. I'd go around at my dad's gaff, and it was thriving. But you know what? Like I say, I personally think the key, and everybody's different in this game. I just left it alone. Yeah. All I've done was just kept the calquasser going in every single day, just a little amount every single day. I kept the alk at 9, and it fluctuated a little bit, but I didn't touch it. That's the worst thing you can do. And like I say, because it's an hour away. So by the time I go down there, do a little bit of work in there, tidy up the glass and that, and go, right, Dad, just make sure, just keep an eye on it. I've done nothing. It was thriving. I sold a load of it. That's where I got the torch coral from, because a friend of mine wanted a load. And he went to me, he said to me, because it grows really quick. For someone who SPS grows really quick. So I said to him, I'll bring you a load down. So I took him a load down there, like forest fire and bits and bobs. And he gave me an Indo Gold Torch, 4 heads. It's doing all right, but under my blue lights, it don't pop as much as I want it. But it's going well, man. It's going all right.
So, Brittany, can you understand what Carl's saying? Or should we just basically saying his tank is fantastic?
I got that.
You know what? I was gonna say that. I bet it's like thinking.
Brittany, it's a London thing, isn't it? It's a London thing. There's a Northerners and Scotland on this channel. There's only
I've been watching the stream for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks now, and I'm slowly getting better at understanding what each, like, I can pick out. I can understand better.
And then Carl comes on and you're like, what's this? What?
Yeah.
Where's he from?
English slang.
I'm trying.
It's like in America. In America, do you get like different tones or different accents? Like we have Liverpudlian, like Cockneys that Charlies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And Mancunians that I am, and Colettis. So do you have different like tones, different languages? Like if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Even here, like if you go 20 minutes down the road, someone will have a way thicker accent than I do. I don't think I have an accent at all. But to you guys I do. But yeah. Yeah.
Whereabouts in the States you're from?
I'm from Louisiana.
Oh, right, because we went to Florida with like Daytona Bike Week. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but we went over there. And seriously, everybody, when you go over there, if you come from London, they all think you know the Queen. Seriously. I mean,
they all expect you to be sipping tea.
You think you live next door to them?
Yeah, and when they say when I said to them, I'm a London cabbie, they're like, a London cab driver. I said, I see Buckingham Palace every day. Have you seen the Queen? And I'm like, no. We're not going to get nowhere near the gates, man. It's not going to happen. It's quite funny.
Carl, I get the same thing. See, when I go to America, literally everybody that I speak to goes, "Where are you from?" And I say Scotland. "Oh, my uncle's from Scotland. His name's Alec. Do you know him?" And I'm like, "No, Scotland's slightly bigger than just a little town. There's a couple of people live there."
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear. So Carl, are you pleased with how the tank is going in the peninsula?
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. The Peninsula tank is stunning. Yeah, it's really, really nice. But when, like Colette was saying earlier, when it comes to having sumps and stuff like that, I was exactly the same. Right? When I had my little tank all in one, it's just easy. Yeah. But the problem I've got with the Peninsula is not really so much of I'm trying to get the return and the flow right, because it seems to be hammering loads of water. I'm constantly topping it, and at the moment I'm just topping it up manually. And I'm like, do you know when you've got to get the return just right? And mate, I'm messing around. I'm literally coming from work today, and I've got like 4 inches of water, and I'm thinking, seriously, man, I've got to top it up again. It ain't right. So trying to get the levels is a little bit tricky, but then the filter socks, I've got 100 grade filter socks, which is the finest one. We take out all the crap. I've got the biggest reef octopus skimmer in there, sucking everything out. It takes a little bit of time. So it's just a little bit of tweaking, but I'm happy with it. But then you know what I'm like. I mean, I've just, I was saying to Mogsy, I've got 2 5-foots coming. Yeah, but no, I'm a bit like changing the subject.
You've had more tanks than I've had hot dinners, you, Carl.
No, but there's a plan. There's a plan for that, because I wasn't going to stay at my dad's forever, and he knows that, and I know that. And I like, I'm going to drop a bombshell right now. I'm going to look at a unit tomorrow. But before I jump in head first, I'd like to get all my tanks, all the skimmers, all the lights, everything. So everything's there, and then you just get set up. Otherwise, you know where I'm coming from. It takes forever.
Yeah.
And more money and that, so I will do it gradually. If it takes me 2 years to build it all up, and then I can open a place up without owing anyone any money, then I'd rather do that. But if you need it and you want it, I'd come and pick it up. It's not a problem. If you're out of space, I've got another 5 tanks coming, so it's not a problem. You just have to drive down in the van, and it's not.
So I think Jay's Wi-Fi is okay now. So Colette?
I'll get going because I feel like it's quite bad because it's one of his live streams. So I'll shoot off and he can shoot back on.
Okay, Colette, thanks for having you on tonight.
Yeah,
much appreciated. You've been a fantastic guest.
I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Cheers,
Thank you.
Right, Jay, you want to log back in?
So, Steve, how's the tank going? The little frag tank you got with everything? It's looking real good. I was looking, the other day.
You know what, mate? Believe it or not, I think the frag tank's doing better than my main display. You know, well, overall, when you look at it, it's everything's thriving in it, mate, growing really well. Like I said, those claw polyps that you sent there, definitely more claw polyps on it since I got it off you, mate. Definitely, you can see like like more little buds coming up, little tiny ones coming up from it. So there's definitely, but I've got no like predators. I've only got 3 fish in there, haven't I? So I've got the 2 little baby clownfish and then that blenny, and then just basically snails. But using that Alpha Reef, the Alpha Reef Tropic Marine Alpha Reef. Absolutely brilliant if you've got anything up to a 200-litre tank, which I've said before, said it last week, and I always say it, is that Alpha Reef is fantastic for a small nano reef. It keeps it rock steady at like the alkalinity is about 8.6, 8.7, and the magnesium, everything all in check. And it looks
good. It's really thriving. It's really thriving. And it just get on. I didn't see the video. I haven't seen the videos. Did the torch manage to pull through?
Yeah, it managed to pull through, mate. I thought 2 of the heads died. Yeah, I thought it had brown jelly disease. That's why I took it out of the main display. Because if it gets on the others, then it's a game over for him. So I basically took it out and I put it in the nano because I thought, well, the only thing, I've got a dragon soul in there. So, all right, I'm going to lose a dragon soul at the worst case. But I put it in, but it's just the 2 heads died and the other 3 heads are thriving. All out, mate. So,
when it comes to torches, they're quite finicky. Yeah, I mean, you've got to. I mean, I bought a load ages ago. Yeah, and I took them out of this woman's tank that was sitting at 7. The out was at 7. Yeah. I literally stuck them in when I had the Red Sea Max Nano. I stuck them in there, and I was sitting at just over 8.5. And it freaks them out. And the only reason I say this is because there's a fella in the States that I've spoke to. Not like we're friends or anything, but I emailed him a few times. I think it's I can't remember, the ACI or something, and he's really not. And he reckons the out swings causes the jelly. So, like if you like I say, if you come out of your tank, as long as there's no brown on it, because if you get the brown, mate, seriously, it's like wildfire.
Yeah, well, that's why when I had that dragon soul in my tank, I had that in my main display. Then, if you remember, yeah. Now, when I bought that from the LFS, it was running at my LFS always run it around 8 DKH. You see, yeah. So at the time, I was running high alk in my main display at 10.5. So it done all right for like the first week or so, and then all of a sudden, it's just started to recede, and I was like, oh, I can't lose this now. You know what I mean? I thought I'm gonna put it in my nano because I knew my nano tank was running at 8.5, 8.6. I knew it was running similar to what it was from the LFS, yeah. But I just wanted the Dragon Soul to go in my main display with the others. You know what I mean? So I just thought, to build it up.
Slowly notch the frag tank up slowly over time, notch it up to the same as your main display.
Absolutely.
You won't have to put that in there. It'd be fine.
Yeah. But I've left it in here, and it's actually split now, so it's gone into two complete heads now. So you know what I mean? It's doing good. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to leave it in here and let it grow out, mate, because I'm going to create this one all the time. When I get the money and all that.
Yeah, I was a bearded reef, that anemone thingy. Do you know what? I was so close to buying one.
Oh, the tube.
Oh
man, they're lovely, isn't they?
Man, I see the video and the colours. Oh, the colours were stunning. I thought, do you know what? It's touch and go with me with one of them. I thought, do I, don't I? But mate, the colours, honestly,
Carl, I would recommend getting it, because see the colours that I've got on the video and the photos now, they don't do it justice for what is actually in person. You know, you can't really recreate it. But the colours are absolutely stunning. The movement's amazing.
I like it, man.
One thing I will say is at night time you need to be careful, because at night time it really does extend. So when you see it in the video where it is there, I mean, say for example it's sitting like my hand is, when the lights go off at night time, it doubles in size.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised it didn't eat your fish, to be honest.
Well, it stung one of the clownfish, and I watched it doing it. The clownfish actually stung really close to it, and one of the tentacles touched the clownfish, and it actually looked like the clownfish was having like an epileptic fit. So it was like shaking like mad, and it was upside down, and then it started like flying around the tank quite a bit, and I thought, oh no, I've lost it. That's that one gone. it recovered all right, and it had like a kind of white line down the side of it, where obviously the tentacle kind of swept across it.
Yeah,
but
it's just
next again day, yeah, it was all right after that next again day. So I don't know if it was just the kind of top mucus layer or what it was in the fish, but to be fair, after that it was fine, and I've stayed away from it so far, touch wood. Now, I believe if you get any kind of small, you know, gobies, blennies, anything like that, then they're going to be a nightmare because they're not clever enough to stay away from them.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just laughing at this thing what Black Pearl's put. Yeah, but it looks like an MP prevented. She don't understand the question. Oh man.
His comments are unreal. It just summarised everything. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, we've blown the budget tonight. Look at the guest list we've got on here tonight. King of Reefing, we've had Brittany and obviously Colette as well. Oh my God, it's ace. Carl, you haven't given us an update on the coal room for a while on your channel.
No, I'll be honest with you.
How's it going?
I'll tell you, I went there the other day.
Yeah.
And I literally said to my dad, I said, I'm back plastering now and it's hard game.
Yeah.
By the time I finish work, I'm hammered. Yeah, I'm tired. But I said to him, I want to get rid of. I'll close one tank down. I'll close one of them down, and a lot of the SPS stuff, I'll sort of give that to my mate in his shop. I'm borderline where I'm at the moment. I'm borderline. Do I go back in a London cab because London's not that busy at the moment? Go back before 2020, we was busy. Yeah, he's earning good dough. But now I don't know if I want to go back. And the reefing thing, it was the coral room was a tester. I mean, with the SPS, it was. I said to Woody and Paul, and they've helped me along with this. I said I want to see if I can have all of these SPS grow, look good, without bleaching out and without dying. Now it was a slow process, and I managed to. With the kalkwasser, we won't go too in depth with it, but with the kalkwasser, I got it all sorted out, and I thought, right, that was running for 3-4 months, growing super big. Now, bear in mind, now I'm not one for like, you've got to have the Walt Disneys, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. I think reefing, it depends on everybody. I get people buy GSP, they love it. It's 15, 20 quid, and they love it. And they look at the SPS and they go, no, it's boring, it's a twig. But I don't really know what I'm doing with it, to be honest with you. I make money, but I want to go bigger. But yeah, it's big money in it. And then I don't know. I
mean, personally, the government's like putting the brakes on at the moment. So, you know, like the London cab thing might not be back to normal till probably next year or the year after.
Yeah,
it's starting to slow down again. They're starting to get worried, aren't they, about the Indian COVID and all that.
I'm quite lucky in a way that without boring you, because this is a reefing channel, we don't want to talk about cabbing and stuff.
We talk about ironing boards, don't we? So,
I'm just saying, perhaps the coal room's the way to go. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm not one. I don't rush nothing. Yeah, I mean, the cabbing, I don't think is for me anymore. I've got my badge. I've got my badge forever. You know what I mean? Plastering, I'm getting too old for it, really. So I want to go down this route.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got to be right, and that's it really. At the moment, I'm just testing. I can keep everything alive now. I'm not saying. Well, yeah, even I had a load of acros in there, and they're growing perfectly fine, and I don't mess with it all too much. So I know I can get it done, but it's quite a lot involved in a cold room on your own. You'll be surprised. Running that on my own is difficult.
Yeah, it's a lot to do when you're an hour away. When you're an hour away, that's quite a distance, isn't it? To go backwards and forwards at 2 hours of your day and everything else, and it's a bit of a slog, isn't it?
Yeah, luckily enough, my dad, he's I mean, he's like nearly 80 now, and he loves it. He's in there, and he's like, he phone me and say, oh, this is doing this or that's doing that. And I sort of teaching him a little bit. And my mum loves it. She's in there all the time. She's going, oh, this one's got well big. And I want to push it forward, but I'm also very careful that I don't want to go skin. And nothing like Aaron's aquarium. I love the geezer. He got me sort of into it. And then when I see his shop, I thought, you know what, go for it, man. I don't want to end up jumping in the deep end. It goes tits up, and then you lose a load of money, and I don't like the hobby anymore. So I will take it very slowly. But the coral room, I mean, you know what? I don't know. Maybe it's absolutely massive. I don't know.
So Brittany, when you like your LFS, where's your local LFS to you? Is it local or do you have to travel to get to it?
No, I've got two, and they're probably about 15 minutes away from where I live. So I just hop from one and then go to the other down the street.
Oh, so that's not too bad then, is it?
I was going to ask you, are you having a mixed reef, Brittany? Is the plan to have a mixed reef, or are you going SPS dominant or softies, LPS?
Probably softies and LPS for now, just until the tank can stable out with the levels and whatnot. And then I'll try some SPS, like some easy ones, I guess, if that's a thing. Yeah.
So which ones are your favorites? Because we all kind of fall into a little bit of a favorite area. So I know Ross is enjoying his mushrooms at the moment. He really likes those. Which ones do you really kind of enjoy in your tank?
The acans. I've got in the nano behind me. I have like different pinks, purples, oranges, yellows, greens. I've got every single color. I think the only color I don't have is actually blue. So yeah, that's what I need to work on getting.
And they have to be on a rock surface, don't they? Acans. Do they have to be on a rock surface? Acans?
No, you can have them on. You can have them on the bottom.
Sand bed.
I have mine on the sand bed.
Yeah.
Not good if you've got a goby though, because gobies just wreck your sand and everything. I don't have gobies, man. They just like mountains of that. I hate them.
Yeah, they make the coral salt, don't they? I've found that a few times.
Oh, mate, they just make so much mess.
Yeah.
Carl, how did you get on with adding the SPS to your new tank? Remember we spoke about it last week and you said you were going to try it.
I'll tell you what. I literally put the acro in there. I put a bird of paradise in there, and a few other bits in there. The acro died within about 10 minutes. I was like, I was watching it, and it was pretty brown anyway. Yeah, but it was in the coral room. But it was in the corner, so it wasn't getting a lot of light. So I thought I'll just take that one, But I literally watched it within the space of about 5 hours just go white. And I was like, that's not good. But saying that, excuse me, I've now put another bit in there, which was really thriving underneath the light in the coral room and right next to the power head. Not right next to it, but I've got like the neuro that pulses. And that one's fine. It's doing really, really well. I mean, it's not super massively puffy, but it's not going to be. That tank's been running for a week and a half.
I can't believe it, to be honest. The progress you've had with that tank is incredible.
But if you look at it and you do, like I said, I don't want to bore you with it, but if you do the research with the ATM colony, the fish, and the cycling process, within that week, that tank was near enough done. And by rights, as long as the bacteria is there and you've got the lights and they're not too high and you've got the flow just right, so it's bouncing off the walls and going around, you shouldn't have a problem. Unless you mess around with it.
So you definitely use ATM colony again to kickstart a tank?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the first time I done it, in the coral room, I used it. I didn't, I didn't read the back. I just tipped it in there, stuck a fish in it, and my dad said to me, it's dead. I was like, oh no. But yeah, I feel bad. That was really bad. But I actually done exactly what they done. And bear in mind, I had the skimmer running when I put that in, which is a no-no as well. So it just goes to show, read the bottle.
Yeah. So Brittany, a couple of questions for you. So in America, there seems to be a lot of frag swaps. Now, obviously, maybe with COVID, there hasn't. Have you been to any frag swaps? Is there quite a big reefing community around where you are?
Not really. Well, I say that there's 2 local fish shops. I haven't met anyone local who does the reefing thing besides, my husband. And then I think they just finished the Reefapalooza in Orlando. I think it was last week. But I see these ads for all these, frag swaps in different states, just nothing close to where I am. So yeah, there's tons of them here. And I think the whole COVID thing is really going away. No one here really wears their mask anymore. Everyone's doing their own thing. There's no restrictions anymore. So I'm sure it's going to start picking up soon, if not already.
Have you ever been to one of these big American, because you have those huge American reefing conferences, don't you?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to one of those?
No.
No. Is there a plan to go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is it Florida where the main one is it?
Mm-hmm. In Orlando. Well, I think there's one in New York, and then there's one the main ones are in New York and then in Orlando. So I think I'll go to that one next year.
I'd love to go. Go.
We should all go.
We all go.
Yes.
We all will meet up and we will all go together.
Yes.
That'd be quite a good crash.
Awesome.
Oh, they want to go. They've been. And I said to them, this was ages ago. I said to them, those when I was sort of newish reefing, I said to them, I'll come. But I think it'd be blinding if we all went. Can you imagine that?
I mean, the scene is so big here. They should have one in the UK. They should have one here. The scene is really big in the UK. They should have it in the Northwest where it's like...
Yeah.
So you haven't got to travel.
Manchester Arena, something like
I don't think it'd be... I don't think it'd be like in the States. I mean,
no.
I mean, you know, like I said, I can only talk about when I went to Florida, Daytona Bike Week and stuff like that. It's just so much bigger. It's so much space. And over here, it's just tiny, and everyone moans.
You see, we're new to reefing over in this country. We're like relatively new to reefing. In America, it's massive. It's just like every other home has got a tank in it. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
No, you're right.
It's just it's just like, you know what I mean, loads of and there's tons of like I said, YouTubers and all that, all from America, and it's, you know, there just seems a lot more over there than what there is over here. You know what I mean? And
but the beauty with this multi is like reefing with O's on it. I've just seen him come up. I mean, he comes from New York. There's so many people you get to know in this hobby from across the pond and stuff. I think it'd be great. I mean, I wanted to go this year, but I didn't think it was on, and it was too late, and we can't. I don't think we can travel, to be honest with you. So next year's definitely. I mean, I'm definitely going to go. You know, I think we should all go together. I think it'd be a right laugh.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, it would be good. It would be good.
Oh, it would be something.
The thing is, out in the States on the Instagram, it seems like they've got really high quality corals. I know we get really good stuff in the UK, don't get me wrong, but some of the stuff you see from the States is just unreal. Like there's an Instagrammer called, is it 2GC International? Something like that. And I always love their corals. And I'm like, oh, can I buy this one? And he's like, no, you can't, because you obviously can't ship it. But I just like, you must go. I mean, how much choice are you getting in your coral shops out there? Are they huge? And you've got like, you see worldwide corals on YouTube.
Worldwide coral. Oh, I'd love to see worldwide coral.
Oh, would you love to go shopping? It's like, it's like.
I went to worldwide corals when I went to America, and it was phenomenal. Honestly, absolutely phenomenal.
Really.
Worldwide corals is stunning.
I mean, it's like the Weatherspoons with a nearby toilet. That is, it's that good.
Brittany's like, what's the Weatherspoons?
I must admit, some of the shops here are pretty good. I mean, AAC. Yeah. I mean, the only thing with AAC, and I do like it in there, is I find that they rush you a little bit in there. I don't know if you get that, Paul, when you go in there.
Recently, they have since COVID, but prior to that, they didn't. So I think what they're trying to do, they've got more demand than they've got space in the shop, even though, as you know, they've doubled their floor space, haven't they? Yeah. So I think that's a little bit about it. But I was in there last week, and I was in there for 45 minutes gassing, and that didn't move me. I know. I can't keep away. There's always something to buy.
You're in there every week, man.
That's why I picked up the All for Reef, based on the recommendation from you guys last week. Yeah. So I'm going to do a dosing on that.
I mean, I don't think the shops here. I mean, there is a lot of coral farms out there. I know a few people who've got coral farms and stuff, but they're very fair. It's a weird thing when you when you do your own calls. It's weird. You don't want to sell them. I felt come around the other day when I want that, and I'm thinking I don't want to sell it. I sold it in the end, and I was thinking I've just sold that little bounce mushroom to that geezer. I wanted that one for my tank, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Brittany, you've got 3 tanks. Which one do you find the easiest to run? Is it the larger or the smaller one? Because there's a big debate here about which ones are easier to run. Obviously, a lot of beginners like me just start with a little one.
Right.
Because they think it's quite easy because it's smaller.
Yeah.
Which one do you find? Because you got 3, obviously. You got a big choice there. So
I do. So the water box, honestly, is the easiest one because now that I've got the sump and I know what I'm doing with the pump, it's a lot easier to keep the level stable. Like, I don't think after I set the ATO up, my salinity has been like, I haven't had to do anything. It's awesome.
Wow.
The temperature, I mean, I bought a heater that was way too big for the tank, so it really hasn't even been on. So it's, I think the bigger one's easier. The smaller one is I'm chasing the salinity levels like crazy because I moved the ATO from this tank to the bigger one. So I have to fill it up with RO water almost every day just to keep the salinity right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So
and it gets a lot hotter over in America as well, doesn't it, than what it does over here in the UK. So
evaporation.
Evaporation will be like, well, God knows how much you'll be taking when it's during the summer over there. It must be. You definitely have to get an ATO thing put on that one, even a little nano, because like you said, salinity. If you've got too much evaporation, salinity before you know it. I had it on here. I've forgotten to top it up on my nano, and I tested it and I was like, the hell, it went to 1.028. And that's just on this little epoxy thing, what I've got here. That's just because I forgot to top it up and I haven't got a top up, but an ATO on it.
Yeah.
I think you should have an ATO on all tanks, really, because we forget, don't we? When you've got a busy life schedule, like you, Carl, like you said, if you plastered in or you come home from work, you're knackered, you might fall asleep or something on the couch or whatever, and you forget to top up. Before you know it, you lost some coral. You're like, what the hell? And then you've forgotten that you've topped up. Do you know what I mean? It's just so simple, and especially in a smaller
Mm-hmm.
I think like the Red Sea Max Nanos. I mean, when I had mine, I think they're a really, really good tank. And the water box on any small tank with an all-in-one. When you're starting, it will teach you if you can keep a small tank stable, then you can keep the big tank stable. Do you know what I mean? But the only thing is with my Max Nano, and I was looking at the pictures, funny enough, when I was on the tea break today. I mean, I feel that within 3 months, that was full done. But I think they're perfect, good starting tanks if you stay in the hobby long enough. Because some people, when they crash, and they do crash, and you lose a shit lot of money, you're like, you know what, I don't need it. And then they get out of the hobby. If you can keep it going, don't do too much with it, and just water changes and a little bit of testing, it's perfect. And then, like I say, it took me a long time. You asked Woody and Paul. I said to him, I don't want a sump. It stressed me out. I think it's overflow, flood me out. It takes time to get to that stage. And now I wouldn't have any tank without a sump.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
it's so easy. It stables itself out. You don't have to do too much.
Yeah.
But it takes time to get to that. I've frozen out.
Yeah.
I agree.
The first tank I had was a sumpless back chamber. And I just found I lit it for a year, but it was so difficult to look after. Yeah, then upgrading to 450 litres from 135, it was so much easier. And you wouldn't think that 3 times as much, but it was less maintenance, less hassle. Once you get around the sump and you think, oh my God, I've got a big skimmer, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And mine was really simple. I just had a skimmer and no POC. So I didn't have any reactors. When you see some of them, they look like a spaceship, don't they? When you look at all the wires and everything in there. And it was just so much easier. And so I wouldn't have one there without some.
You see, smaller ones. Obviously, a little tiny variation in parameters is like quadrupled, if you know what I mean, in a smaller tank as opposed to a larger tank. You have that little bit of extra time to be able to sort it out in a larger tank. But when I first set up my 350, I was doing water changes on it, and that was a ball ache. I hated doing water changes, with it, and that was the reason why I thought, you know what, let's see if I can sort something out where I don't have to do, water changes. Now I haven't done a water change in that for 18 months. What I mean?
I find that, Muggsy, I mean, everybody's different in this game. That's what makes it beautiful. I am religious with water changes. I used to do water changes in the coral room. I'm telling you, And even the Peninsula tank I've got, I will do a 15-20% water change on that every 2 weeks. Without fact, But then I don't lose any corals, man.
No,
and I'm like,
no.
you know what? If I don't lose any corals, then it's a bonus. But I get where you're coming from. That's why you have to skim them.
But you see, it's like with me. I always look at it like this. Yeah, why change something that doesn't need to be changed? If my nitrates sit at like 5%, 5 ppm, which they do, and the only thing that might go up is the phosphates, but I don't do any doses, so I don't. So for me, if I do a 50-litre water change, all that is theoretically doing is taking my nitrates to 2.5 ppm and my phosphates down, because all I'm doing is reducing half the water and replacing it. So for me, I think it's like not the money. It's nothing to do with the money. It's just the time and doing it, and mixing it up and getting like buckets. Because I just live in a terraced house, which is a small house. Yeah, it's nothing big. So it's tiny in it, my terraced house. So it's like little poxy terraced house. Imagine me having like a bucket, like a 200-litre bucket.
I get that.
And for me, I found a sweet spot in my tank where the only time coral are dying in it is because they're growing on top of each other. That's the I'm having now. Do you know what I mean? So unless I have an emergency, like something goes awry, like say, I don't know, and an enemy got stuck in my pump, like I did do it originally, and it started to like release all toxins in my tank, then that was a problem. You know what I mean? Then I had to do a water change. So, but other than that, I think
from day one when I started this, I don't know, it just said do a water change once a week, and I was like, right, he wants me to do that, that's what I'll do it. And I sort of took it all the way till now. I mean, don't get me wrong, every now and then in the coral room it could be like a month, but then I'm like, you know what, I just refresh it a little bit, it makes me feel better, corals are looking good. It's more of a benefit than a negative.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if your tank's running sweet and everything's fine, don't touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that.
So I think it's more important to do it when you first set up the tank. So I did a water change every week religiously for 12 months, done a 10% change on this. And then as it started to grow out and I think it got more established, I then reduced it. And then I don't do a water change at all on that, other than when the sun gets really cruddy and I swap things out. But I must admit, I think it helped when I was establishing the tank, and I wasn't that experienced either. It helped. When I think now I understand it a bit more, and I know when to do a water change. It's looking a bit off, so you can do other stuff. Yeah,
Brindy, do you do water changes in your 3 tanks?
I do once a week, all 3 of them.
Oh no! You've got to change it. Don't do it. No.
I do.
No. I agree with Paul. I think for maybe, like you said, for maybe the first 12 months or so, Well, you see, for me, Paul, I don't know whether you did it. I already had like the all the media and stuff that was in my Red Sea 170. So it was like an established, like it was already, the bacteria was already established on the rocks. So all I did, I just took everything out of my tank. The only thing I didn't take out was the sand. I never used the sand because somebody said don't use the sand because it can release toxins and stuff like that. So I just put all new sand in it. But what they did say was use 2 scoops of sand, out of me 170.
Yeah, the bacteria going.
So that's all I did. And then I just a bottle of Microbacter 7 in, which is Bright Wells, a couple of bottles of that in. And it was basically, it didn't need to cycle. It was already, it just run up. But bear in mind, I had to put another nearly 200 litres of water into my main because it was only like a 170 what I had originally. So, you know what? And I never looked back really. I never did a water change really. I did maybe 1 or 2 and that was it. Maybe I was just lucky. I don't know.
If your tank's working and like I say, Mogsy, your tank is nice and your corals are thriving, then don't change it. Don't change it. But people, I always remember when I first started, your hands in the tank all the time, moving this, doing that, constantly. My wife, she went out and she come back in. It was 3 in the morning. I was still messing around with rocks. She went, "What are you doing?" I've got to get the dog right. It's the worst thing because every time you move something or change something, you're setting yourself back 3 weeks. And I learned that so quickly. And there's nothing more annoying when you put a coral in. This was when we were talking about gluing the rock together. You put a coral in, you just put it there, and you move the rock, and it falls over and it's everything else.
I know what you mean.
I'm like, just leave it.
The thing is, the thing with yours, Carl, how much was the colony and how much was because you were in the fortunate position of having cycled rock and cycled media, which is a really big game changer if you've got a new tank.
Yeah,
do you feel that the having the cycled media is what got you to where you were more than the colony?
To be honest with you, I think having the live rock come out of the coral has been sitting there for 7-8 months, and I put that in a tub. It's already heated. I put the van on so warm to keep it all up. Put that in the sun.
Yeah.
And with the ATM colony and the fish straight away, it made a massive. I think if you've just got fresh water and fresh, clean rock, it's dodgy. If you know what I mean.
I agree. By putting a couple of cups of sand in, some rock that's already matured, or bio balls, that kind of thing, there's no substitute for that kind of stuff. You've already got the biodiversity, so therefore you won't have a cycle. You probably won't have a ugly stage, unless you really ramp up the lights, because the other stuff will help.
It's just a tad. There's a little bit of an ugly stage, but if I don't get the ugly stage, like a little bit of it, then I think to myself, well, this ain't right. You've got to have it. So it ain't right. If it ain't looking crap, it's not right. But it's going really well. I mean, I'm finicky. I'm OCD, man. I'm finicky with everything. It's going all right. If I wake up tomorrow and it's all dead, then we do it again. We just keep going.
Brittany, what rock did you use? Did you use live rock in all your tanks, or did you use man-made ones?
It was the I'll probably say it wrong, but the Carib Sea, the life rock.
The life rock. Right.
Yeah. So I used it in the fluval, and then I used it in the water box as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I used that in my nano tank myself, the Carib Sea life rock. It's great because it's got that pink pigmentation. A lot of people were saying, because there was a bad batch going around, wasn't there? Do you remember that, Carl? Remember that bad batch that went round to the Carib Sea over here? Remember? And you put it in you could break it up, couldn't you? And it was melting.
Yeah, it was just crumbling.
Yeah.
I
used it and never had a problem with it. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got tons of live rock. Literally, where I've had about 14 million tanks over the last 3 years. I remember fella's house, and I'm pretty good at it. I'm like, I bought a load of stuff off him. He had a load of rock in it. I said, let me have that. He went, let me have it. I'm taking it. He went, I take it. I've got tons of it. So if anyone needs any rock, I've got 2 tons of it. But you've got to let it cycle and do its thing. You can't, marine, you can't rush. It just don't work. You know what I mean?
It's quite interesting. When I started, I actually got proper live rock that was over for Indo, and it made such a big difference. Just the shape and how light it is. And just the look of it is so much different to any other rock I've had since then. I've had the Real Reef. I've looked at the macro, all kinds of ones, and you just can't beat it. I get why we don't take it out to sea, but it made such a big difference, and it was so lightweight. And that's what I've used on the floating aquascape, because it's light and it's so porous as well. You can just see the difference compared to anything else you see in the shop. But I get the reason why you can't get it now.
They sell it looks nice, the rock looks nice, but if you actually hold it up, it's not porous at all, so it's not going to do anything. All you're doing is just going to get algae on that. If you turn your light, it's all you're going to get. You know, sometimes you've got to spend that. I mean, like I say, luckily for me, I've got loads of rock flying about, and you can usually tell some of the crappy stuff, and usually they charge you an absolute fortune for it.
It is expensive. When you think about it, like the price of rock, I don't know what it is like over in the States, but like a kilogram over there is stupid prices, and it's like £8.99, £10.99 for a kilo. It's just
it's crazy.
It's nuts.
You know what I mean? It is crazy. And if you need like 20 kilo of live rock or 30 kilo, you're looking into 350 quid. Live rock, you know what I mean? It's just stupid amount of money that. You know,
what I would do nowadays is actually buy some used rock, even though it's probably full of load of crap and phosphate, and then put it in bleach. And then you totally soak it, you take all the crap out, and it's completely dead then, and then start again, because you can pick up this kind of second-hand rock from breakdowns really, really cheap. Now, we never put that in a tank. You never know what's happened to it. And it could be full of phosphate and everything else, and it'll just you'll have algae and everything else for months. But
you got to be careful when you're buying rock, because my mate bought some, and it's like it was over like 15 years rock. He's just you can bleach it, you can jet wash it, but he's just I was going to swear then, but it's not good. Sometimes you've got to get half decent rock that's not too battered. You know what I mean? It's but
that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
And another thing is, I think, and this is another. You've got to have a bit of the bacteria. You've got to have a bit of the bugs in there, because that's what you get in the sea. In the sea, you don't just get a skimmer in the sea. It don't work. Every animal, every fish, every coral, every sea urchin has all got a job to do. I look at the sea as my tank. If I can, a sea urchin will clean my tank spotless. That's the job. Do you know what I mean? But it will move your
the most important thing you can add in an aquarium is your cleanup crew. More than anything is your cleanup crew. You can never have too many snails. You can never have too many scientific. You can never have too many cleanup crew.
I've got
about 60 snails in my nano. Not in my nano, in my main display. 60 different snails. No wonder all my corals get turned over off the sandboard. You know what I mean? I don't think that's what they do. Don't they at night time? They come out for a bit of a party and a bit of a dance. You know what I mean? Crazy, mate.
The best thing for cleaning algae and anything in your tank is a sea urchin. But they run the risk of if you've not glued anything down, your sea urchin, right, will be covered in zoa. So it's like one big zoa moving around your tank. Do you know what I mean? But I had 2 of them, and this was my first tank, and I never had any algae problems really, because they just ate everything. But they do disrupt the tanks.
My sea urchin took my bounce mushroom on a walk. Yeah. When I thought it got sucked into the power head and chewed up.
There's a lot of money to be walking around the tank.
I spent 200 and odd quid on a bounce mushroom, and I was like, and it was in my tank. I'm like, what in the hell? Where's this mushroom gone? I thought it'd been sucked in my power head, and I looked all day. I went to work and I couldn't. I went, oh, it's gone. It's gone. This thing. And then I came home and I seen it. It was on the sea urchin's back. On the urchin's back, I was like, "Oh, you little bleed! It was there, mate."
Yeah, they're a nightmare. They do a good job, but they're a nightmare.
Yeah, they're a nightmare.
You've got to have a good cleanup crew. You need. I mean, I must have 25, 30 crabs in the peninsula. Snails, I can't. I mean, I'm in the frag room. The snails just breed like anything. So I've got loads of them, but they just keep everything clean, basically. But
Jay's definitely not paid his bill. Look at him.
He's had problems today with his Wi-Fi, that's for sure.
Oh, he's not.
Jay, you're glitching out like I was.
You've lent me your Wi-Fi, mate. So I'm terrible at the moment.
So there's been a few comments I just want to go through. So Ross, been quite a few around Free the Crab. So you got a Free the Crab t-shirt. I don't know if you showed that off tonight.
I've got the Free the Crab t-shirt. Let me see. There you go.
I'm going to get one of them. I'm going to get one of them.
I want one, man.
Yeah, I'm getting one of them.
I want one of them.
Great design. Yeah. And how is the crab doing? There have been some comments about what's his free gift, what's his upgrade this week, what's going on?
No, so he's with it being too much, he's just playing with his balls this week. He's not done much. He's in that tank, cutting about quite the thing, playing with his balls, not doing anything. I attempted to put him back in the tank this week, but then I thought, no, he's not quite deserved it yet. So we'll maybe run another week on in there and then try him back in again.
What's the plans with your tank now then? I see a couple of Instagram pictures looking real sweet. Any more corals in the pipeline?
So this is what I was saying recently. I'm struggling to decide what way I want to go with it. Now, I seem to be obsessed with looking at mushrooms and zoas just now, and I don't want to end up with just a tank of mushrooms and zoas, but I really like them. So it's one of those,
just go for it.
Go with what you like, mate. Go with what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your next purchase, Brittany? What are you thinking of getting? Have you got anything in your mind, or?
Not really. So I just put that bubble tip anemone in the water box. And I bought a Lobo yesterday for the Innovative Marine.
Right.
And that one was super pretty. He gave it to me for a steal. He gave it to me for like $20 because it was a double head and one of them had died. Yeah.
20 bucks,
So,
20 bucks, 15 quid or something. Oh, man.
Man.
You know what? I want to cry when I hear things like that. 15 quid for a Lobo. God, what? Oh, it's crazy, isn't it?
to be fair, it is kind of smaller, and I know they take forever to grow. So, I mean, it's,
Well, they are slow. Trust me,
Yeah.
they are slow. I've got one. I've had it 2 years, and it's grown about ½ inch. It just stays in the corner now. I'm like, I'll leave
that
it there.
polyp extension, man.
Yeah, it is. But Ross, I reckon that's what you should do in your tank. If you look at when I had my on the Insta, when I had my Red Sea Max Nano, I done a Zoa garden on the scape. I don't know if you've ever seen it on there, but
yeah, I did, mate. Yeah,
I done a Zoa garden on the scape, and it looks absolutely stunning. I didn't care what anyone else said. They're like, I don't want it. That's what I was gonna. You get some really nice stuff on there. It looked really nice. I mean, I struggle with mushrooms, to be honest with you. I can't. Me and mushrooms, I can't keep them alive, man. I don't know why.
Yeah, I really like the mushrooms for some reason, and I mean, I'm not even one that's into the mad, the bounce mushrooms and that. I like the Recordias, and I like my normal mushrooms that's there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those that it is what you like. I mean, the tank's about what you want. So I suppose there's no reason why I can't do that, isn't there?
I reckon if you
absolutely
a load of mushrooms at the bottom and some Zoas on the side and build it up and up and up, you will get a bigger tank eventually. That's what I'm saying. And they're all going to go in there, and then you've got more room. But have a really nice Zoa mushroom garden. It's different, isn't it? Not everybody, like you say, if you like it, that's what you've got to get.
Ross, you should go. You should go for it, because you can change it later on down the road. You could get an upgraded tank. You can. I mean, it's hard sometimes to get Zoas off of rocks, to be fair, but you could do a rescape and everything else. But I think Zoas are underestimated. The colours of them as well. When you kind of do contrasting colours next to one another, they just look. They look brilliant.
Ian Cosgrove's Zoas, when he had it, I've seen this. Ian Cosgrove's on Instagram, mate. What is was like it absolutely probably one of the best Zoa gardens I've ever seen in my life, mate. You know what I mean? It's incredible. You know what I mean?
The thing is, like, it's kind of like what Colette said earlier. I'm more like the colours of things. So when you see, when I look at my tank, the different colours that I've got, I mean, it really sticks out. It stands out. It's really bright. Now I know you get that with other corals as well, but for me, just starting out, I'm not going to dive into the hard to keep corals. I'm going to keep easy things to start with. So
you can get some really, really stunning Zoas. I mean, I put a video out earlier. I was just filming it, and I thought, you know what? I'll upload this because I filmed the Zoas, and they was absolutely stunning. The utter chaoses and the gobstoppers. I just was filming it on my phone. I thought I'll upload this as a close up. You can get so nice Zoas. I go for it, man.
And some of the really cheaper ones, Utter Chaos are I think they're really cheap. And yet the colours, they're one of my favourites. Yeah. Compared to some of the more expensive ones. Those and things like Eagle Eyed and Scrambled Eggs, all those kind of ones that got really funny names, and they're relatively cheap, especially compared to torches and other stuff like that. You get 1 or 2 polyps and you get it right, your tank's really good. They'll just pop polyps every day of the week. It'll be fantastic.
Ross, look absolutely stunning. As long as you don't go bananas and just get a couple of nights and just build it up slowly and they will grow, and just keep the progress of that as on your channel, I'm telling you, man, it will. In 6 months from now, it will look amazing. Yeah, like the colours and it's not so much. It's nothing. I personally, when it comes to reefing, it's nothing to do with money. I mean. It's really weird because I was speaking to a friend of mine. I've got the Peninsula, and I've got an Indo Gold torch in there with like 3 heads. I'm not that bothered. I look at my GSP I got in the coral room, is more colourful, and I'm like, that's 15 quid, and I love it. With me, you cannot stick that in the Peninsula. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick them all in there.
Right. On that note, guys, we're after time. Thank you, Colette, for coming on earlier on. Brittany, pleasure having you from across the pond.
Thank you.
I hope you caught most of what we said, although I can tell by your eyes, maybe not at times, but that was quite funny in the comments reflected that. Cole, as always, a pleasure. I'm sure I'll see you.
I'm glad the internet was better this time.
It was for you. You passed the baton to some of us instead.
Yeah.
Right. So next week, same time, 8 o'clock, Steve, we're on your channel, aren't we? So we'll stick the banner up over the weekend as to what we're going to do, what the theme's going to be. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great reefing weekend.
Have a good weekend and keep sticking them pictures on Instas, man. It's wicked. I love it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, Carl.
Take it easy.
Cheers, pal. Cheers.